The 4-month political standoff in Ivory Coast is over, ending with the arrest of former President Laurent Gbagbo by forces loyal to President-elect Alassane Ouattara. Now, Mr. Ouattara says he will ask his justice minister to start legal proceedings against Gbagbo for crimes against the Ivorian people.
In a televised address to the nation late Monday, Ouattara urged people to remain calm so peace can return to the country. He also says that this is a new era of hope for Ivory Coast and an opportunity to rewrite history in reconciliation and forgiveness. Ouattara is guaranteeing Gbagbo's safety, and he assures the citizens of Ivory Coast that the former president will stand trial. Human Rights Watch says Gbagbo should not be allowed exile in a country that would shield him from prosecution. Meanwhile, many Ivorians say they are now hoping for a future without political conflict and violence. And our correspondent Scott Stearns has more on a very eventful day in Ivory Coast.
Many Ivorians celebrated the capture of former President Laurent Gbagbo, who was holding out in an underground complex at the presidential palace, refusing to recognize that he lost last November's vote to President-elect Alassane Ouattara. Their standoff led to months of hostility that people now hope to put behind them after 10 years of Gbagbo rule.
It's truly an immense joy, truly immense, because it's now 10 years we've been in this crisis and haven't moved forward, with no development. But thank God, and thanks to Alassane, we can truly express our joy today. It's a new era. We can really go forward now. We feel it's going to be all right.
With Mr. Gbagbo's surrender, Ouattara fighters say they're now focusing on rounding up members of his militant youth wing.
Our work is not finished yet. There are still militias and mercenaries in town. We've lost too many loved ones in this affair. We are not celebrating at the moment because we are in mourning.
Mr. Gbagbo appeared briefly on Ouattara television, calling on his supporters to lay down their weapons.
I hope that we can stop the fighting and get into the civilian part of this crisis, and that we end it quickly so the country can go back to normal.
Mr. Ouattara met former generals from the Gbagbo army and called on all Gbagbo loyalists to join him in a new beginning for Ivory Coast.
Our country has just turned a painful page in our history. After 4 months of post-electoral violence in which many human lives were lost, we're here at the dawn of a new era of hope.
Mr. Ouattara says Mr. Gbagbo will not be mistreated while in his custody, despite the former president's refusal to honor the wishes of Ivorian voters.
Like all Ivorians, we would have liked that the transfer of power after the scrutiny of November 21, 2010 had happened in a different way. However, we want to reassure Ivorians and the international community that all measures have been taken to reassure the physical integrity of Laurent Gbagbo, his wife, and all those who've been arrested.
Mr. Ouattara says Mr. Gbagbo and members of his government will be brought to justice for crimes against the Ivorian people.
In order to create a legitimate state, the Minister of Justice and Human Rights will start judicial proceedings against Gbagbo, his wife, and his collaborators. They will receive a dignified treatment, and their rights will be respected. I appeal to all my compatriots that might be carried away by a feeling of revenge to abstain from any act of reprisal or violence.
Regional mediators tried for months to arrange a face-to-face meeting between the presidential rivals. Now they're both here at the Gulf Hotel. Mr. Gbagbo facing trial, Mr. Ouattara facing the challenges of reuniting a country divided by civil war and political violence. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Abidjan.